Hello, I'm Mark Baer. You're watching YourTown TV. I'm with DaleTaylor, PGA golf professional.
Hello, Mark.
Welcome.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you.
And you are here because I need help. As I have told you, I would do anything to get better except for practice. And you've probably heard that before. And so you're the PGA professional at Tehama,
Yes.
which is above Carmel. I guess that's how it's called.
Yeah, above Monterey Bay and Carmel. It sits up on a beautiful ridge up there.
A beautiful course. So how did you? First of all, how did you end up in Monterey? What's the genesis for your golf career here?
You know, coming into Monterey, I lived in Bakersfield, and family lived overseas, and I went to school down at Irvine, UC Irvine, and played golf there. But my aunt and uncle, Peter Hiller and Celeste Williams, they're here in Carmel. They've taught at All Saints School for over 30 years, and they both now have retired. But coming up to visit them and coming to this area in general was just a treat as a kid, kind of growing up, and just love the beauty of this area. And the golf appeal is unbelievable, unmatched. And so after graduating college, looking for a graduate school, I ended up coming up here to Monterey Institute, which is now Middlebury Institute, and went to graduate school.
Oh, did you?
And I was very happy to attend that, and went to a international management program there.
What did you study at Middlebury?
It was I ended up with a MBA, master's in business, and really looked at international side of business. And they do a lot of work. Of course, they're probably more well known for translation interpretation and policy administration, policy studies. But the
non-proliferation policy,
yes, exactly,
water issues, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm very, very happy to see how well they've done, and their association with Middlebury, and it's done super there. But studying marketing and trade, was very interesting, and this area was a hotbed. I think there was a fellow named Peter Kerwin at the time. It was a Monterey Bay Area trade association, and he was head of that, and it was just very, very cool to kind of become part of the community with Monterey Institute. And through there and my time working at different odd jobs, I met up with some old high school friends who were working at Pebble Beach Company at the time. And at the time, my mindset was that golf, you either played it as a living or that was it, tour life, or there's no other middle ground. And as it turns out, my friends, Chris Pryor, who's now a realtor in the area, he was first assistant at the time at Pebble Beach Company. And he told me about his career and the possibilities as an assistant pro and eventually head golf professional, and more of the golf business side of it versus trying to work a paycheck out on the golf course competing against the best in the world. So the whole fixture, transfixed on Monterey Peninsula was solidified at that point. That was about my third year here when I discovered golf as a possible career.
Wow. So how does one qualify to be a PGA professional? What's the process of that?
Well, I was lucky to get in early, in a sense. 92 is when I really decided to become a PGA professional. And at that time, the first step was, of course, working for a golf shop, and underneath the pro, Rich Kosan is still the head professional at Spanish Bay, where I started. And he hired me as a marshal. I was a marshal for a few months there, and after 6 months, you can start your application process with PGA of America. And one of the first steps at that time was just being able to pass a playing ability test. So there was at that time 36 holes. You had to come in under a set mark, depend on the course you played and the difficulty. They'd set a number, and if you could beat that number, then you've passed your playing ability test, and that gets you the right to continue your membership quest with the PGA of America. At the time, it was 2 different business schools and a workbook and an interview process that you had to go through, and it covered all aspects of the golf business, whether it's golf carts or turf grass or teaching or club repair. And over about a 2.5, 3 year period, you eventually fulfill all the requirements and do an oral interview, get a panel of professionals kind of shoot some questions at you, and you become elected to membership at that point if you're up to code, if you will, and grade with all your prerequisites and qualifications.
And then how did you, from there to Tehama?
Well, I was very happy to work at Pebble Beach Company. You know, in '92 they hosted U.S. Open, and that was a big attraction for me to come to Pebble Beach because I knew the '92 Open was happening. So I started in March, and the Open was in June. So it was very exciting,
wow.
Very exciting time.
Who was playing that year? What was
you know,
that year?
'92, I want to say that was the year that they had some trouble, I think, with the wind and whatnot. I know. I think it was Dr. Gil Morgan was way up, and I think he got caught that year. And I can't for some reason right off the bat, I'm not remembering the champion, but we were just happy to be part of the mix, and it was wonderful. So for some reason I want to say Tom Kite, but that doesn't. It's possible that he was the champion that year. So a few years there at Spanish Bay and Laird Small at Pebble Beach Golf Academy.
Yes.
It was just starting that arm of the Pebble Beach Resorts. The Golf Academy was just coming into its own, and I was lucky to work with Laird Small and Catherine Marin, Patrick Holloman.
Now these people have national reputations.
Yes.
I know Laird Small does.
Definitely.
Yes.
Top in the country.
Yes.
You know, he's been named Teacher of the Year, and
I guess we should reiterate how special the Monterey Peninsula is to the world of golf.
True. True. You know,
yeah.
the Pebble Beach Resort, Cypress Point, of course, on its own, but the Pebble Beach itself is just such a beacon, you know, around the world. It's legendary, you know, Cypress Point next door, of course, but you talk about Pebble Beach in the same circles as Augusta National and Pine Valley in New Jersey, and some of the great old history, you know, surrounded by history courses like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very, very special. And as you come to Pebble Beach, and as I was kind of discovering, you know, all of a sudden it's like, well, there's also Poppy Hills and Spanish Bay and Pacific Grove, which is just this gem.
It's a little gem, especially
course.
on the ocean side,
Incredible.
the poor man's Spanish Bay.
It's beautiful, and in fact, I played a lot of golf out there, and maybe even a couple rounds of night golf way back when.
Yeah, Spyglass is probably my favorite of all of them.
After Spanish Bay, the Golf Academy was located at Spyglass Hill. That's was their home base for a while. And I'd have to say, to this point, Spyglass is probably still my favorite course in the whole world. It's just the combination of ocean, trees, sand, some long holes in the forest, some beachy dunes out, you know, by the water. The whole Robert Louis Stevenson effect, if you will, with the Spyglass Hill, each hole being named after a character or place, you know, from Treasure Island. It's just magical, and I teared up a little bit when I left Spyglass Hill,
but Tehama is a beautiful place.
Yes.
So a
Yes.
beautiful golf course, and very advantageous for those who play it a lot.
Yes.
Very difficult for those who are throwing in it, and then the fogs. I've had some really magical days there, and I've also had days where we've had people from out of town because we play early.
Yes.
And where people come out of town, the fog is on the hill.
Yes.
We play in the fog through 16 holes. People come from out of town are playing this beautiful, spectacular golf course, and it's 16 holes later that the sun finally lifts and they get to see where they are. I've had those days there.
And how long have you been playing up there?
A long time.
I was going to say.
As long as you have been there since the trailer.
Yeah. So 99, you had the, 98, 99, the trailer was up. 2000, they felt the clubhouse up.
Yeah.
But you're right. It sits up on this beautiful ridge, and sometimes you're above the fog and the clouds, and sometimes you're right in it. But most of the time, like today, it's just you can see past Santa Cruz and beyond up the coast, and look down the other way and see past the village in Carmel Valley, and the
wildlife, the wild turkey, the deer, the bobcats. It's pretty I am never jaded here. The day that you don't see it is time to leave. But we're here on business, and the business of this is Golf with DT. Now, this is something that you filmed a couple of years ago. There's 24 episodes. They're half-hour shows.
Yes.
And I had them on my site at the time, which was called Smart Channel TV. And then this was a few years back, and now we're bringing these back out because the game of golf has not changed
Not
that
drastically.
much. The fundamentals have not changed that much, but the new technologies to get this to an audience have changed.
That's true.
And that's
true.
what we're doing. So part of me being a better person involves me being a better golfer, because the rest of the flaws, it's too late. But there's a swing in there that I vow to be better, and part of that is I'm going to spend more time with you.
Okay.
And we're also going to get these tapes out. So it's called Golf with DT.
Yes.
You'll be able to go to YouTube, any viewer, and type in DaleTaylor Golf, and that will get you to these episodes, and then you and the audience can improve as I improve.
Well, golf with DT.
With your mentorship. So how did that come about?
Very, very thankful to AMP. They're the ones that gave me the chance and the training, if you will, to come to some classes, understand, what's available here, equipment, editing equipment, cameras and lighting. And it was just an idea that I wanted to do some video production and wasn't really sure how to incorporate and get it, to say public access at the time. So after taking a few classes and getting the handle, if you will, on it, and thanks to Alex out there helping us with video editing and getting equipment, and it just was something that I just wanted to share the beauty of our club. So
so it's all shot on site in Tehama.
Yes.
Club members. As your students,
friends and club members,
members.
We did a kind of 2 seasons, if you will.
Yes.
The first half were pretty much just me talking about the game, starting with putting.
So how did you?
The long swing.
Because again, this is not an easy thing to do, because you had to organize and break down the game and lay it out in a manner that you would start from scratch with somebody.
Yes.
That's not easy. How did you approach this?
Well, I was lucky enough to do some cruising on board Seabourn Cruise Lines. They had a Seabourn Sun cruise ship, and for 2 years, 2000 to 2002, I was on board, and every sea day when you're not at a port, I had to do a lecture from 9 to 10. And so I knew every segment was about a 2-week stretch. It'd give me a chance to do about 8 lectures. And so the most logical system for me was to start with putting and do short game, then some irons and the long game, and then talk about playing and rules and some of the bigger picture kind of things. But through that process, I started realizing, these are the episodes. So the first season is really just those episodes. I start with some very basic fundamental short putts. Then we do some long and breaking putts and long lag putts. Then we go to chipping and pitching and into the full swing. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, I've got about 13 episodes. So the first half, if you will, are really just me talking about golf and getting us out and looking at some of the beauty of the golf course and some wildlife shots and some slow motion action watching the club and lots of jazz. I'm a big jazz fan. And it was great to hear that we had a jazz festival, a player here, and
again, Clint Eastwood, who's
of course,
a jazz master in his own right.
Really highly, involved with the jazz festival.
Yeah.
Very fortunate to work for him, at the club there at Tehama. But the first parts of those, like I said, series, that season 1, if you want to call it, was really just me talking to the camera, talking about the golf swing. The second season was golf lessons. And so I was able to pick out friends and members, that wanted to be on camera, or maybe didn't want to be on camera, but we coaxed them
yeah.
onto camera. And it gave us a chance to interact. So all the fundamental kind of lecture series in the first season were applied to real life situations. So we have these individual case studies, and of course, one guy hooks it, one guy slices it, somebody can't hit it, somebody is really great, and we're trying to get them maybe, just a little bit better. But it gave me a chance to work some different personalities and talk about different ways of approaching teaching. And really that's, for me, golf with DT, working at the club, golf in general. I really develop a passion for the teaching side of it.
Well, you bring a good attitude to the game. You bring a holistic attitude to the game in terms of you tell people, and you tell them in the video, look around you.
Yes.
Don't, this is all great that you're playing this game, but look around you, where you are, how lucky you are to be looking around and seeing what you're seeing. Pay attention to the big picture. Feel the wind, feel the breeze, feel the sun. Enjoy being alive and doing this. That's
definitely
the bigger point. And I thought that was kind of what separated. There was a bigger life in your game than just mechanics.
Ball in the hole.
Yeah, and that came across, and it's a very, I feel the series is very sophisticated in that way, and also teaching on the cruise ship, you wouldn't have been able to do those. You made it look easy because it was so organized, and it came off very effortlessly. But it took years of. And now I'm seeing it took years of being able to not only play the game, but to speak about the game.
Yes.
Because those are, I can speak about the game too, but I can't play the game, but you can do both. And it took years of learning how to speak about the game to be able to do this. It's a really marvelous accomplishment that you've done this, and I'm really proud to have been able to get it online and very happy now to be bringing it back out.
Well, I want to thank you and Smart Channel for having me on the air for so long, on your site, and to have it now be available on YouTube is, again, a big thank you to you and AMP for making that happen for me.
You will stay slim and forever young, and that swing will stay beautiful. So what else is in the immediate present coming up?
Well, we have an event up at our club. Of course, our owner is Mr. Eastwood, so it is called the Clint Eastwood Golf Tournament.
Yes.
And it's a
Clint.
The Clint, exactly. Yeah. It's we try to make it a tour event, and even though it's a private member guest, invitational as you would call it, it's our aspiration to make it a tour-like feeling. So we put up the big scoreboards. We have banners coming up the drive with players' names on it. When they check in, they're getting personalized golf balls and gifts. TaylorMade shows up to do fittings. They all get clubs and special tags. And then on the course, live scoring and lots of volunteers. And very, very thankful that we've had 90 volunteers almost every year help us. And this is our 14th year in doing it. So it's become a year-round project, if you will, getting rid of one and starting a next one. So,
well, anyway, thank you so much for being here. DaleTaylor, head pro.
My pleasure.
Tehama Golf Course, Golf with DT, and go to YouTube, DaleTaylor Golf, and you'll see these episodes. I'm Mark Baer, and we'll be back. Thank you.